Welcome to the Unapologetic Podcast with Kaitlyn, hosted by LadyBoss. This is the space where women rise, own their power, and stop playing small. We get real, we get raw, and we get fired up about confidence, health, business, and life. If you're ready to step into who God made you to be and unapologetically live your best life, then girl, you are in the right place. Let's do this.
This is what unapologetic looks like.
This is my era. I'm walking boldly in my purpose. I'm done dimming my light.
I'm done playing small. God didn't create me to blend in. I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. The old me was surviving. The new me is free.
We rise together.
Here's to living life unapologetically. Hey ladies, and welcome back to Unapologetic. Today's guest is truly someone special because he is a man. He's a man that's on a mission to empower women. Like, what? A man is doing this? I love it. He's doing it all over the world. Brad Walsh is the creator and the host of the Empowerography Podcast, which, ladies, it's a top 1.5 globally rated show, and it's built and specified to highlight stories of strong, dynamic women, stories of success, resilience, and transformation. Brad's also an award-winning photographer, an international speaker, and a best-selling author. And I love that he calls himself a story doula because that's exactly what he does. He helps bring women's stories to life. And ladies, when I heard about Brad and what he does, I mean that he's a man that highlights women, I have to have him on the show. So Brad, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh my gosh, Kate. Thank you so much for that incredible introduction. And I am beyond honored to be here on your platform. I know that you primarily have women on the show. So for me, being a man and being here on your platform, it is a complete honor. So thank you for giving me the space to share a bit about my work and the importance of it in the world. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I cannot wait to jump in and start having this conversation with you.
Yes, I can't either. It truly blows me away because you've built such a powerful platform around women's empowerment. And normally men focus around men and putting women where they should be. And normally it's a woman, right? Normally it's a woman like me saying, hey, you're amazing. Let's empower you. And I've got to know, like, how did this journey begin for you? Like, why is this your avenue? Tell us the whole story. I want to know all the things.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of this, what you said there, it's typically women hosting podcasts like mine. And that's part of what I saw in terms of the gap that's missing is we need men to stand up and start to be part of the stories of elevating and amplifying the voices of women. So my journey began into this world as a photographer. I learned how to shoot on black and white film years ago in high school. And there was something so magical about seeing an image come to life on a piece of paper that I created in camera right before my very eyes. Seeing it come to life on that piece of paper is just a magical, beautiful process that defies description, honestly. But the funny thing is I never wanted to photograph people. I had no interest in photographing people. My thing was landscapes, architecture, urban exploration, creating art and selling and exhibiting my art at art shows around Toronto. I worked in corporate for 12 and a half years as an audiovisual tech at one of the big four accounting firms. And about 3 or 4 years into my career, I was, to put it politely, tasked with the responsibility of doing the corporate headshots. And that's where I fell in love with photographing people because I love spending time with people and having that one-on-one time to connect with them and learn a bit about who they are and what they do. And of course, when you're able to do that with a subject, it helps to bring out a more authentic image of that person because you've connected with them. And then about 3 years later, I was introduced through a mutual friend to a boudoir photographer who was based in Florida. And I fell in love with her work, the mission and the message behind that genre of photography with what you can help women accomplish in terms of body acceptance, self-love, self-confidence, and all of those beautiful things. I ended up mentoring with her for 6 months. And when I was done my mentorship, it was just one of those light bulb moments. I knew that that's the direction I've got to take my photography business. When I do make the jump to photography full time, that of course didn't happen for another 6 years. But during that 6-year period, I was continuing to sell and exhibit my art, but I was also working on honing my craft as a boudoir photographer, learning about lighting and posing. And because I didn't have to deal with any of that stuff as a photographer prior to this, because I was using all natural light, I was shooting outdoors and I didn't have to worry about lighting. So that was a very steep learning curve, but it was an incredible process. I was doing free shoots to help hone my skills, and it was just so magical. And so when I did finally make the leap, we'll fast forward a couple of years here, and I was at a point in my photography business. I loved what I got to do. There was not this piece of the work, the boudoir photography, is so purposeful and so beautiful because I was able to give the gift to so many women of seeing themselves sometimes for the very first time, or seeing themselves in a light that they don't normally get to see themselves in. And that is such a powerful and beautiful gift to be able to give another human being. For me as a photographer, being on the other side of the lens, it's so magical to see a woman come into the studio. And of course, she's nervous and she's getting almost naked in front of a stranger. So it's understandable. But to see the transformation in 90 minutes, Kaitlyn, from when she first walked in to when she leaves, a complete transformation of who she was and to who she is as a confident, powerful, amazing woman, and to have fun while we're shooting in the studio, keeping it light and having fun and constantly showing her the back of the camera so she can see the images as we're capturing. That process is so beautiful. The transformation is powerful. It's amazing to witness. But the biggest and most special part of that for me is to be able to give that gift to a woman to see herself for the first time, truly who she is, truly see her beauty inside and out. It's such an amazing process. And so 2 years into my journey, I started to feel like, I love this. This is my first love. My first passion is photography. And also to be able to give that gift to women. But I started to feel like I wanted to have a bigger impact. I wanted to reach more people. And I thought, how am I going to do that? How can I do this? And I thought, take the values, the purpose, and the mission of the work I'm doing as a photographer and turn that into, or take that and turn it in and transplant it into a podcast, host a platform. Now, of course, at the time, and even now, I don't know of any other platform out there in the world that is hosted by a man that solely focuses on highlighting the stories of women, amplifying and elevating women's voices through sharing their stories. So I thought, this is perfect. I can carve out my own little niche in the podcasting world. It'll stand out because, as we know, as podcasters, you got to try and make your podcast stand out as much as possible. And so I reached out to 7 or 8 friends of mine, women who I had met through my photography journey, and I had explained the mission, the idea behind the platform that I wanted to build and create. And I asked them if they would help me get it off the ground by letting me interview them. Thankfully, they all said yes. I did the interviews. I created the content. At the time, I was publishing an episode every 2 weeks, I think it was. But also at that same time, my business started to pick up traction. I was getting more inquiries and more bookings. So I thought, I left corporate for a reason. I left my full-time job, the security of that, for a reason. I have to shift all of my energy and my focus back to the business. So I look at that period of Empowerography as, I call it my dress rehearsal. So I published those 8 interviews and great content's out there. I shifted my focus back to the business. We then, of course, fast forward to March of 2020. We all know how that played out around the world. That obviously impacted my business in a massive way. I couldn't be booking photo shoots. So I thought, well, you got 2 choices here. You can go through door number 1 and sit around and commiserate and complain like over half the world's doing about what's going on in the world at that current time. Or you could choose to go through door number 2 and see this as a gift that we've all been given around the world and take advantage of that gift of time and use it to create something good, to put some positivity out into the world. Because at the time, I thought the world could use it. So I thought, I'm going to reignite the podcast. I started reaching out to women on social media, again, explaining the idea behind the platform, what I wanted to do with it, where I wanted to take it. Of course, it had evolved since the dress rehearsal version. And the response was incredible, Kaitlyn. The women were so happy to hear that a man had created a platform such as this to help elevate women and amplify their voices through sharing their stories, that it turned into this thing where the women I was interviewing were saying, Brad, I've got a friend, I'll connect you. Brad, I know someone should be a great guest. To where we now have this incredibly beautiful platform. And I can honestly tell you, in the last 5.5 years, I know without a shadow of a doubt that this is my purpose. This is why I was put here on this planet, is to do this work, to help elevate women through amplifying their voices and sharing their stories. And it has been 5.5 of the best years of my life. I have met some of the most incredible, inspirational, courageous, resilient women I have ever met in my entire life. I've heard stories that just, I honestly sit there and think, how in the hell are these women still standing after all that they've been through? Yet they're still here doing their thing and sharing their magic with the world. And to be able to give women a platform to have their voices heard. I mean, the through line through all of it, through all of my work, I would say, is the storytelling aspect of it, visually storytelling through photography, and then audible storytelling through allowing women, giving them a space and a platform to share their stories. It is just, again, it's an incredible gift to be able to give that to another human being. And at the foundation of all of it are my mother and my grandmother. They are the reason for all of it. My mom left my biological father when I was 10. He was running around on her having an affair. And of course, back in those days, women stayed home to raise the children while the husband was at work to making the money to support the family. So when I looked back on that as an adult male, the fact that she had the strength and the courage and the resilience after 15 years of marriage to stand up and say, no, I don't have to take this shit anymore. I am taking my boys and we're leaving. And that's what we did. We left with nothing but the clothes on our back. We moved into a 1-bedroom apartment. My mom slept on a couch. My brother and I shared the bedroom, and she had to put herself back out into the working world and get a job because she'd been out of work for 10 years, staying home and sacrificing to raise us. And so when she was at work, my grandmother would step in. So for me, those two women are my heart and my soul. I wouldn't be the man I am today without those two women. And of course, all of the other women who have been a part of this platform, who have been part of the community, all of these women have contributed to who I am as a man, as a human being, and as a person. It has been such an incredible journey. And I'm so grateful to all of the women in my life, my wife, my daughters, all of the women who are part of the platform, my mom and my grandmother. This is why I'm here.
They've got to be so proud. I've got goosebumps. I mean, it takes a lot to walk away with really nothing, especially with kids to support. And
Yeah.
you've known for the last 15 years, like, wow, that is so incredible that your mom had the strength that she did and probably still does, right?
Yes, yes. And of course, the support of my grandmother. I mean, and my grandfather, they were there supporting her and letting her know that we've got you. You can do this and we're here to support you. So they were a staple. They were those three, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my mother. But as far as the two women, it's my mother and my grandmother who are the inspiration behind all of this and the foundation for all of it.
That's amazing.
Thank
Brad,
you.
I would love to dive in a little bit to the boudoir
Yeah.
aspect.
Hmm. Sure.
Um, a lot of my audience base is women who have lost weight or are trying to lose weight. And a lot of times I hear, oh, well, I'd love to do a boudoir shoot. I want to do one, but I want to lose the weight first. I want to
Mhm.
look a certain way first. What are your thoughts when you hear phrases like that from women?
I do hear that a lot. And I always say, why are you waiting? Don't wait. The time is now. Capture who you are. It doesn't matter about the weight or the size you are or any of that. It's about stepping into and owning your confidence as the woman that you are. If you want to do a shoot when you lose that 10 pounds or whatever it is, great, do that too. But do one now to capture who you are in your essence, in that moment of who you authentically are as a woman. You are beautiful inside and out. It doesn't matter what your weight is. I photograph women of all sizes. It does not matter what your size is. And if you keep saying, I'll do it when I lose 10 pounds, I'll do it when I lose 5 pounds, you won't do it. So step into it and own that confidence now. There is no time like the present. Let's capture your beauty right now in this moment.
I love it. Let's capture your beauty right now in this moment. Like all bodies are beautiful.
Yes.
And it's ourselves that are our own worst critic where we want to critique and say, when I lose it, this, that. And from experience, I have done quite a few boudoir shots. I
Okay.
shoot quite a few, maybe 4, 5 in my life.
Good for you.
Um, but it's incredible. I've done it at my heaviest and I've done it at my lightest. And it truly is, I walk away from a boudoir shot every single time with the same confidence, the same like, "Oh, I rock," even when I
Yeah,
was heaviest. It truly is incredible how empowering it is. And so
it
to be
is.
the person behind the camera, being in that support, because okay, on the flip side, I've had photographers that are a little bit more reserved because they're newer to
Hmm.
it. I've had photographers that are like, "Oh my word, you're incredible." Both personality types behind the camera, it's just like they give you such an ego boost you almost didn't realize you need,
Yeah.
right?
I think it's important as a photographer, and that's something that I always do is I'm constantly encouraging my clients as we're shooting. I'm constantly showing them the back of the camera to show them what we're getting because they don't know. Let's say 99% of the women who book boudoirs don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know how to pose themselves. They don't, and they should. How would they? They're not models, most of them, so they don't know. So it's my job as a photographer to coach them through that process and to encourage them. If I'm not showing them the back of the camera, I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine they're sitting there thinking, well, is this guy getting anything good? Like what is he capturing here? Am I smiling too much? Am I not smiling enough? Are my hands in the right place? Am I doing the right thing? It is so important. It is of the utmost importance that my clients feel comfortable during the shoot because when they do feel comfortable, when they are seeing what we're capturing, when they are being coached and feeling confident to feel confident, that will help to bring out better images in the clients because they'll feel more relaxed. They'll feel better about who they are and they'll feel more comfortable. I always also insist that we're joking around. We have fun with this. This is an experience about having fun as well. So I want you to feel comfortable, feel confident because that will be portrayed through the imagery. If you're sitting there or laying there and you're stiff and you're uncomfortable and you don't know what it's going to come through in the images, and those will not make for good and beautiful images that you will cherish and be able to look back on 5 years from now, 10 years from now and think, holy shit, I was hot. I am hot. Look at these images. I mean,
It was
that's what
me.
it's about. Yeah, exactly. That's
It's me.
exactly it. And I always tell my clients that the images, that's great. A lot of the women, I do a pre-shoot consult with all my clients before we shoot. And I have a list of questions that I always go through with them. And one of the biggest questions why are you doing this? Why do you want to book a shoot? But I also want to encourage them to not do because one of the most common answers I get when I ask that question is, I'm doing it for my partner, I'm doing it for my husband, my wife, whatever it is. And it grates on me when I hear that because, and not for the fact that they want to give the images to their partner. That's great. I love that. But first and foremost, this should be for you. This is about you. It's not about your partner. Yes, you can gift them the images afterwards. Of course you can. But I say too that the images are just a byproduct of this. What this is really about is the experience of you stepping into and owning your confidence, seeing who you truly are. That's what it's about. So this is something I always try to encourage and let women know that sure, you want to do this, you want to gift your partner the images, that's great, but do this for you first and foremost. That's the most important thing. And I also tell the women that you don't have to wear lingerie. You can wear whatever you want. I don't care. You can wear jeans and a cutoff t-shirt for all I care. I want you to wear something that you are going to feel beautiful in, that you're going to feel comfortable and confident in. If that's lingerie, great. If it's not, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Lingerie is not a prerequisite for a boudoir shoot. You can wear whatever you want, whatever you feel good in. So those are the main things that I try to let my clients know that this is what it's about.
I love that you bring that up because I know for me, when I first started doing boudoir shoots, it was for my partner more so.
Mhm.
And as I did them, I was like, oh, I love the way it makes me feel, the confidence boost. Like I am hot, I am sexy. Like this is
Yeah.
amazing. And in fact, to the extent of my last shoot, my last shoot was probably about a year ago now,
Okay.
and I'm fairly certain there's images my husband still has not seen because I didn't go for my husband. I went for me.
There you go.
And, it was always one of those like, "Oh, I'll create a book or I'll do something for him." And I may never have gotten around to it. And I think he was going through my phone the other day and he's like, "Whoa, I didn't know about these." And it wasn't because I didn't want him to see. It's just, time got busy, but I did it for me.
Yes.
I
That's
didn't
the
do
most
it for
important thing.
anyone else.
Yeah, for sure. That's the key is to do it for yourself. It's really about the experience and stepping into and owning who you truly are, owning your confidence. And is everybody, as you said, everybody is beautiful. It doesn't matter. And it's about making you feel good about yourself, making you feel confident and stepping into and owning your power as a woman.
And I never thought about seeing like the behind the camera. I guess if I think back on my shoots, like I do look at them as we go.
Hmm.
I didn't even think of how powerful that is. But
Hmm.
when I go for family shoots, I don't see the images until, a week, 2, maybe 2 months later.
Yeah.
I just assume like they're going to be great. But how can I if I'm not seeing the backside of the camera in a boudoir shoot, and I am thinking, okay, is my hair right? Are my hands in the right?
Yeah, of course.
Have I sucked my stomach? Whatever is bugging me, did I cover it? So there's so much power in just being able to see and really be involved in the entire process, not just as the person being captured, but with the photographer and seeing what's already transforming as it happens rather than having to wait a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I want my client's input. I want her to see, and if I show her the back, and I don't really like that image, let's get rid of it. Okay, fine, no problem. If you don't like it, we'll get rid of it. But I want them to have the input. I want them to like what they're seeing. So that is, I always, I would say 4 or 5 shots, I'm showing my clients the back of the camera because I think it's important because it also helps with their feeling comfortable and knowing that we are capturing beautiful images. And they get to see them in the raw, unedited form. So imagine seeing them in the raw, unedited form. It's only going to look better with the edited version. And I'll say another thing too here about the editing. I'm very, very light-handed with my editing. I don't believe in liquefying or using these different tools to change what the woman looks like, to change her body. I don't do any of that. The only thing I will do in terms of editing and changing is removing blemishes and stray hairs. That's it. Otherwise, this is who you are. This is who you authentically are. Of course, I'll color balance, contrast, bright, all of those things. But in terms of making any major changes to the images, I'm just removing blemishes and stray hairs. If they want a scar removed or a tattoo, sure, I'll do that. No problem. But they have to request that. Otherwise, the images are a true, authentic representation of who they are as a woman.
That's incredible. Brad, I've got to ask, is there a story that just stays with you? Like a behind the camera story with a woman that just you'll never forget
Mm.
impact? I'm sure there's tons of them, but is there one that stands out?
Every story stands out. All of them are amazing. I photographed a woman who had just gone through a cancer radiation treatment, chemo treatment, and that was powerful. To see her step into her confidence and feel comfortable in front of the camera after being through what she had been through as a cancer patient, and to just embrace her true beauty, to see that and to see the confidence come out of her. As I said in the beginning of the sessions, 9 times out of 10, the women are very guarded, and understandably so. But to see that and to witness and to be part of and to help that transformation happen, it is beyond words. There aren't enough words to fully encapsulate or articulate what that feels like. And to be a witness to that, my gosh, Kaitlyn, it is so fucking powerful. It truly is. It's amazing. But to be able to give that gift to that woman, to step into her confidence after being through what she had been through, it's just an amazing gift to be able to give a woman.
That's just so beautiful because multiple reasons, right? Be able to give them that gift, but the power, because it's not just a photo.
No,
It's
it's an
really
experience.
Yeah, it's an experience and it's a reflection on how someone's feeling in that moment. And so I
Mhm.
bet as you see the photos lay out of when they're, not sure and kind of awkward in the beginning
Yep.
versus the end, I bet it's completely different. And I love that you
Yeah.
see themselves in that boldness and that confidence versus here's, when you came in, here's the reserve,
Yeah.
beautiful. You own it. Look at how the
Yeah.
shines through that photo.
And I'll do that throughout the shoot, show them at the beginning, middle, and end. And honestly, I would say 7 out of 10 women will, again, like I said, be very guarded, and understandably so in the very beginning, and a little tense and whatnot. And by the end of the shoot, when we're done and okay, we've got enough images, we're wrapped up, that's good, you did amazing, so on and so forth. And I'm like, oh, I was really getting into this. We're done already? Really? That it just brings such a huge smile to my face to hear that and to see the air about them and the confidence that they have within them as we're finished the shoot and they're getting back into their street clothes, what they came in, and they're all dolled up. Of course, they have their hair done, their makeup. So a lot of them will end up, what happens is they'll end up doing like a night out with their friends or with their partner or whatever, because they're already all dolled up and ready to go. So they'll leave the studio just a completely transformed and different woman. And it's a beautiful thing to see and to witness.
I love that. Normally when I'm sneaking off to do a shoot, I'm not telling my husband's like, don't have anything planned after, but I can see how that could be just so incredible because you really do leave those shoots as a woman with such a high
Yeah.
confidence, so empowered. I mean, it's like a drug without being on the drugs. And so to like be able to like go out with your girlfriends or your spouse or whatever,
Yeah.
and maybe it turns into a sexy night that you weren't actually planning, but like now you're like, oh, I feel so great. Like
The
I'm
ripple
I'm
effect of that, right?
yes.
It's a really powerful. I honestly believe that every woman on the planet should experience a boudoir shoot at least once in their lives to see how powerful that is and how that feels. It's again, I can't speak to it like 100% because I haven't been on the other side of the camera, but being on my side of the camera, it is so incredible and beautiful and powerful.
And being on the other side of the camera, I echo that. It is truly. So what you were saying to all the ladies listening is book the boudoir shoot and book it now.
Yes, 100%. You will not regret it. It is amazing. And it is an experience to have once in your life for sure.
So you mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
I want to switch things
Yep.
up a little bit. Um, so your business was going great, photography, boudoir shoots, empowering women, and then COVID hit, which
Hmm.
pushed you to dive back into the Empowerography podcast. And the podcast tagline is empower, elevate, and educate, correct?
Yep. Yep.
What do those three words mean to you?
Elevate means to elevate a woman's voice, to give her the platform so that she can elevate herself through sharing the stories. Empower, give them, I think empowering is showing someone who they truly are, shining a light on them so that they can see their gifts. And then the educate piece is all of the women who have been guests on the podcast. They are educating other women out there through their stories so that maybe they don't have to go through the same things or the same struggles because they're hearing what these women have done to get through what they've been through, to be the resilience, their stories of resilience. So it's about educating all the other women out there who are listening to the podcast, because I believe that we all have a story, and I hear it all the time. And I'm sure you do as well as a podcast host. I don't have a story. Nobody wants to hear my
Mhm.
story. Who's going to want to listen to me? I'm telling you right now, and I'm sure you will attest to this as well, Kaitlyn, every single one of you out there listening right now, you all have a story and it is worth sharing. People need to hear your story. Storytelling is it's the lifeblood, it's the fabric of society. This is how we connect with people. And if I believe that our stories can have impact and can help others through their stories, through their struggles, whatever it is they're going through. So I believe it's your duty and your responsibility to share your story, to
Yes.
get it out there, have your voice heard, because I guarantee you, and I promise you, as I sit here right now, your story and you telling that story will have impact on at least one person out there. I guarantee it. And that's part of why we're all here, is to have that impact and to help others. So share your story. It's within you. We all have one. We all have multiple stories. So figure out what your story is and lean into it and share it. The world needs it.
Yes. I used to say like for all women. I don't want to necessarily say for all women or a majority of women, but I know for myself there was lot of periods in my life where I feel like I had to suffer in silence because I was the only one that's going through this. Or I'm the only one
Hmm.
that's dealt with that
Hmm.
particular situation, and it's the biggest crock. Like
Yeah.
that's such a lie. We all have our troubles and our traumas and our good times and our bad times and our ugly times. And it's almost it's selfish when we keep that story to ourselves because it can impact others. The amount of time like I'm getting better and better at my storytelling and as I'm sure lots of women, we have all the stories and all the traumas and
Yeah.
all the things we've gone through. But as I've opened up and started telling the amount of women that are like, you're really helping me through this. Like I thought it was just me. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought it's yeah, it's just focusing on the one. I don't need to change the world. I'm here to change the world. If you make an impact on one person by sharing your story, then you just made the world a better place.
That is changing the world when you impact one person's life. And it's again, it's your duty and your responsibility. You need to share your story because it will impact that one person. Of course, we want to impact as many people as we possibly can, and that's what is amazing about podcasting is the reach that we have as podcasters. But you need to share your story. It's there within you. Step into it and own it and share it because it's needed in the world. You have to. It's magic. It's your magic. Share your magic.
I love yes, you have to. I'm gonna this next one. So you're male, you are a guy in the women's empowerment space. Like you said, you haven't found another platform like yours. It's very niche,
Hmm.
and I'm sure there was a lot of negative or uh a lot of negative and a lot of judgment that came your way. And if you wouldn't mind, I would love for you to talk about like some of that and what was your motivation for pushing through it and turning down the societal judgment?
Honestly, there really hasn't been a ton of pushback. I in the beginning I would get the old, like, the suspicion of, or the thoughts like, what's your angle really? Why are you really doing this? Come on, as a man, why would you want to do this? And there's got to be an ulterior motive. That was the biggest thing. Oh, there must be an ulterior motive to why you're doing this. And then, but what happened was, after I shared my story as to why I started this, then I would honestly, I would see it. I'd see the light bulb go off. Now okay, I get it. I get it. So that was the biggest thing. And like I said, once I told them, whoever it was, my story, it clicked for them and they understood. So there really wasn't a ton of resistance, to be honest. It was just those moments of doubt when it's like, really? What's your angle here? A guy doing this? Come on, there's got to be something to it other than, no, no, really, there is. This is why I'm doing it. So that's really all the pushback and resistance that I received. And so there wasn't a lot to push through. I just knew that the mission and the movement is so much bigger than me. It doesn't even involve me. It's not, yes, of course. Let me rephrase that.
You're the
It's
narrator.
more than, pardon me?
You're the narrator of the story.
Yeah, it's more than, it's not about me. It's not even about the women. It's about the stories. It's about the voices being heard. And I know that without all of the women who have agreed to be part of this platform, who want to share their story, Empowerography doesn't even exist. So I am so grateful to all of the women who have jumped on board and been willing to share their stories and been willing to be vulnerable and have their voices heard, because it is scary. You know this, to get on a mic and share your story with people. You don't know who's out there, who's listening. So it's scary to be visible. So I just want to say I applaud and I'm so grateful to all of the women who have said yes to being on Empowerography and sharing their stories, because I know how hard that is to do. I'm very, very grateful for all of it, because without all of the women, it doesn't exist. So
Nope, it doesn't. And like I said, it's if they don't share their story, they're not helping that person that's waiting for them to share that story.
that's right. That's right. 100% agree with you.
You've interviewed like hundreds of women on your podcast
Hmm.
so far, right?
Yep.
Is there a common thread that you see in their stories, or is there one that stands out?
There is a common thread, and that's resilience. All of these women have been there through their own version of hell, and they have decided that that's not going to define them. That's not who they are. They are going to stand up, get through it, heal, and then relay their stories to help other women. So that's the most common thread, is resilience, strength, courage, all of those things. They are threaded through every single one of the stories of the women who I've interviewed. I just published my 718th episode today, actually. And all of them, those are the common factors throughout every single one of those stories, is their resilience to stand up and be a better version of who they are, and let those struggles shape who they are and
And not
move forward, taking the lessons forward to do better, to share, to be a stronger, more resilient, and more inspirational woman.
they don't let their past define them, right? Like
No,
they're
no.
resilient in it. It's their driving
Exactly. Yep, that's it through every single one of the women that I've interviewed, and it is awe-inspiring to me to see that in every single woman. Like I said, there's been stories and interviews I've done. It's like, how are you even still standing after what you've been through? Like, you've blown my mind, and I take inspiration from every single one of the women's stories that I've interviewed. And being the host of this platform, I have grown and expanded so much as a human being, as a man. And I have all of these women to thank for that, for those lessons, and for that inspiration to move through and to do that and to become the man I am today.
So, okay, the man you are today,
Hmm.
how has this podcast and this movement you've built impacted your home life, like your marriage, your kids?
It's been amazing. I mean, I've grown so much. I've gotten more in touch with who I am. I've learned through the conversations how to step into and own my power. I struggled a lot with confidence and with comparisonitis and all of these things. And so I've also stepped hugely into my spirituality. I was never a spiritual person at all. I didn't fall into or believe in any religion, none of that stuff. And here I am. And my spiritual journey started probably about 3 years ago now, but I have completely evolved as a human being, as a spiritual person, as a man, and learned to step out of my comfort zone. I was painstakingly shy and introverted. And I'm still an introvert, but I have been able to, as I'm saying here, talking about women owning their stories, owning their voices, I too have stepped into that and learned how to do that. I didn't have a clue how to interview people. I was not one who would be so forward and forthcoming to sit down and have a conversation with people. When I would be out, I'd be like the wallflower. I'd just stand back and watch. And like I said, I was painstakingly shy. And so I think that's probably the biggest piece for me, is having the courage to step out of my comfort zones and step into my voice and own my voice, and to shed some of the shyness, to shed some of the non-belief in myself, the confidence issues I dealt with, all of it. I guess I'm a completely different person. I am much more confident. And that's not to say that I don't have moments where I doubt myself or I'm not confident. We all do. We're all humans. We all go through those times. But with what I have learned in my entrepreneurial journey, starting out in photography, continuing with that, but also through the podcast and the conversations, is that I am more powerful stepping into my voice and owning my voice. And I now have the tools that I've gathered and filled my toolbox or my tool belt with to learn how to turn down that noise when I do get hit with it, when those voices, when those gremlins in my head start talking. I have the tools now to learn how to turn the volume down a little bit quicker than I used to. So it's been, like I said, it's been 5.5 years of 5.5 of the best years of my life being on this journey.
Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Like, ladies, do you hear? Like, it's not just us with our mind. I call it negative Nancy and positive Betty. Being able to turn up positive Betty to shut down negative Nancy. You probably don't call it Nancy and Betty, but
No.
not just us women that deal with it. And like, to find those tools, my whole desk everywhere is like, where is God calling me to lead today? I am grateful for everything. Don't forget the impact you made. Gratitude over fear. Like, because it's those constant reminders to turn down negative Nancy and turn up positive.
Yeah, absolutely. It is not just women that deal with it. And I mean, I can't very well preach to people to say, share your vulnerability, be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable, and not do it myself. So I'm all for that. And I have no problems talking about my struggles with self-confidence issues and comparisonitis and all of these things. But one thing I learned, and I learned this through my photography journey and having a mentor in my photography work, is around the comparisonitis. One of the many things, but this is one of the most important things, is that there is no such thing as competition. Competition is something that we've created up here. It's a mindset piece. And when you realize and you're able to shift that mindset and that belief that, because I went through this, all the photographers, why am I not further along in my journey? Why is this person so much further ahead in their journey than mine? And the first thing is, well, they've been at it for longer than me. That's like comparing apples to oranges. You can't expect to be up here with someone who's 5 years or 10 years into their journey when you're at year 2. That's impossible. You can't compare the two. So be grateful for where you are in your journey, but look at it, the whole situation, as the only competition you have in this life is you. As long as you can look back and see that you've improved in your journey and you are constantly improving, that's the only thing you have to worry about, because there is more than enough abundance out there. I don't care what line of work you're in. I don't care what your business is. There is more than enough abundance out there for everybody to get a piece of the pie. You never have to worry about that. Comes from lack mindset.
Yes.
And once you're able to shift that competition, that lack, into believing and looking at it as, I'm improving, I'm growing, that's all that matters. Don't worry about what other people are doing. It doesn't matter. You can get inspiration from it, absolutely, but stop comparing yourself. It's a no-win game. You have to shift your mindset and your belief that your competition is you. I go back, I do this regularly. I will go back and look at my photography work from 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And I laugh at myself thinking, oh my God, how did I possibly think these were good images? I mean, but you got to remember, they were good to me back then because that's where I was in my journey.
Yeah.
Those are the tools I had. That was the best I could do for that time. And I can look back and say, holy shit, I have come a hell of a long way to where I am now. And it's the same thing with podcasting and interviewing. And if now this I have not done, I have not gone back and listened to those first 8 episodes that I recorded. I'm sure it would be the same. I'd go back and think, I'd probably be cringing because another thing that's funny is as a podcaster, I hated the sound of my own voice. I
Yeah.
could not stand listening to my own voice. Now I've stepped into it. I don't mind it. I can listen to it. I can handle it. It doesn't bother me. But I'm sure if I went back and listened to those first 8 interviews, I'd be like cringing and like, oh my God, those are terrible. But they weren't terrible. They were good for where I was at in my journey. And that's the thing to remember. But do that. I would encourage people, whatever your work is, go back and look at it from 5 years ago, 6 years ago, even 2 years ago, and see the improvement that you've made and celebrate that improvement. Celebrate your progress because you've grown, you've expanded, you've become better at what it is you were doing. It is so important as a reminder to do that. So I encourage people to do that.
I was going to ask, what you use to like be able to reflect. I was like, do you journal or do you?
I do that too.
Okay, you have all the ways, but I love that you guys connected the photography to it, and like going back to episode 1 versus episode 700. Like, it's not just journaling. Like have people tell me all the time, like I'm just not a journaler.
That's okay.
I love
Find
the
your
activity there. Find your work, your craft,
Mhm.
and look back at how far you've
Yeah.
come.
Yeah. And celebrate it. This is something that we don't do as humans
Oh,
typically is we don't celebrate our wins no matter how big or small they are. Celebrate them because when you do that, when you celebrate your wins, it's also a permission slip for others to stand up and do the same. And it's the same thing I wanted to mention this about storytelling, stepping into your story. When you stand up and you share your voice, you share your story, guess what? You're not only impacting that one person out there that I guarantee you will, but you're also impacting others in a way where you are a permission slip for others to stand up and share their stories. When you do that, you're showing your courage, your strength, which will then inspire others to do the same. So you are impacting more than one person. You're impacting that one person with your story and your struggles or whatever it is, your wins, but you're also impacting others because you are the permission slip for others to stand up and share their story.
yes. I always love to say, like, you don't need a permission slip because you don't. But really, like, that subconscious in us is waiting for it. As
Mhm.
much as we want to say, I don't need it and I don't want it, it definitely helps make things easier, does it
For
not?
sure it does. For sure. When you see your friends doing stuff, you think, man, I want to do that. Or look at them, they're doing that. I can do it too. That's what it's about.
Yes, it is. It's truly so inspiring what you were doing with Empowerography and everything over the last 5 years. To see a man using to use your voice to lift up women. Not only is it a movement and it's just so incredible, it shows the world that empowerment isn't just a women's issue. It's a
No,
human.
it's not. Absolutely. I agree with you. I think that that's what we need to do for each other as human beings. We need to stop with this back and forth and the masculine versus feminine bullshit, the patriarchy and all this other shit that we put onto each other and the divisiveness. And we need to stand side by side and shoulder to shoulder as human beings. That's the only way we're going to get anything done in this world of consequences, that if we decide to work together as human beings, because all the men in the world can't do it on their own and all the women in the world can't do it on their own. So the sooner we get our heads around that and learn that, the sooner we'll be able to have bigger impact in the world because our voices are so much louder collectively. Our light that we shine is so much brighter when we do that collectively. So if we come together as humans, that's how we're going to change things. That's the magic that we're going to create. That's the impact that we're going to have in the world because we have to do it together. There's no other way.
It's so incredible to start seeing that unfolding.
It is. And we are seeing it. And it's amazing to see. There's still a lot of work ahead of us, but
There always will
think,
be, but
yeah,
I feel like there's truly there's just a revival going on around the world, not just in Canada, not just in the US, but
no,
really around the world right now. And it's beautiful to see. It's
it
beautiful to be
is.
part of. It's beautiful to be part of that body in wherever we're going right now. It's just incredible.
It is. It's an amazing time to be alive. And although it may not seem like it sometimes with all the hatred and the divisiveness that we're seeing in the world, we have to go through the darkness to get to the light. So, and to have appreciation for it. So just hold on, keep going, keep doing the work that you're doing out in the world because it is making an impact, and keep believing and surrounding yourself with heart and like-minded people.
So, Brad, for anyone who wants to connect with you, or are you looking for podcast guests? Anyone wants to be featured?
Always looking for
Where
guests.
can they
Yep.
find you?
Empowerographypodcast.com is the website. Instagram, Empowerography Podcast, and then my email, empowerographypodcast@gmail.com. Those are the three most likely places you'll find me and be able to get in touch with me.
Ladies, we will drop all of that in the show notes so you can find Brad easily. And a lot of you ladies ask, especially in the LadyBoss community, like, okay, I'm all caught up on LadyBoss Unplugged. I'm all caught up on Unapologetic. What other podcast do you recommend? Brad's. I highly recommend his podcast, Empowerography. Go check it out, ladies. And I mean, 700 and some odd episodes. It will take you a long time to be caught up on them.
Yes.
So go binge listen to Empowerography. Highly say go do that. Yeah, of course,
Thank you.
Unapologetic, and then run over there.
Yes, of course.
I get a little biased, but they're both amazing.
Absolutely. 100% agreed, Kaitlyn.
Brad, if you can leave our listeners with one piece of advice or truth who are wanting to step in their own power, what would it be?
Trust yourself, and what's meant for you will never go by you. Believe in yourself. All three of these things. Surround yourself with heart and like-minded people because they will help elevate you and lift you up when you need it. And do the same for others. That's part of why we're all here, is to be in and of service to one another. So lead with your heart, believe in yourself, and whatever is meant for you will never, ever go by you. Trust in that.
So true and so beautiful.
Thank
Brad,
you.
thank you so much for being here and everything you're doing to uplift women's voices across the world. It's incredible to see how just one person's purpose can create such a ripple effect. So everyone listening, remember that your story matters. You can create that ripple effect no matter where you've been or what you've walked through or how messy your journey feels right now. Your voice can change lives too.
Absolutely. Kaitlyn, thank you so much for the incredible opportunity to share with your audience, to be part of your platform, and to be one of a few men that you've had on the show. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to have had the opportunity to be here and to speak with you and share my story and your journey and my journey with you. Thank you.
Don't quote me on this, Brad, but I think you're the only man so far had on.
Well, I am even more beyond honored then. Thank you so much for this incredible opportunity to be the only man who's ever been on the podcast. What a wow. Thank you from the bottom of it with all of my heart, Kaitlyn. This has been such a beautiful and pleasurable experience. I've enjoyed every minute of our conversation.
Yes, I have as well too. And I know our listeners are like following you on Instagram right now and they're going to choreography because they're like, wow, I love it. Like, yes. That's all I can say. When I see something on social or the podcast and I'm like, it just hits. I'm like, yes. Like I can't scream it loud enough. I thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, my honor.
Ladies, if this episode inspired you, share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to Unapologetic and Empowerography for more stories that remind you to live boldly, authentically, unapologetically, love deeply, and have amazing, fulfilled lives. Until next time.
I'm showing up as the woman I was created to be. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be willing. One woman's courage gives another permission. I'm done waiting for someday. My time is now. I'm walking in faith, not fear. God's plan for me is bigger than my fear. No more hiding who I am. This is the real me, and I'm not apologizing for her.
Thank you for tuning in to the Unapologetic Podcast. If today's episode fired you up, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new one. And hey, leave a quick review, or sharing this with a friend helps us reach more women who need this message. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and keep living unapologetically.